services, and it's up to government to respond to that. But where it is a broader issue of we just don't want these people, unfortunately, government can't just respond to that, because we have a statutory duty, and nobody, as we've said before, nobody has the right to say, I won't allow X or Y into my community.
Are working class communities and small rural communities being asked to do too much in terms of accepting facilities for refugees in their areas compared with leafy suburbs and more middle class areas?
We have international protection accommodation in working class areas, in rural areas, and we have it in middle class areas as well. We have international protection accommodation all over the country now at this stage. And I suppose our department...
Is there a bias against the poor and the rural because it's more easy? I don't know.
I don't believe there is. And certainly if you look at the percentage, the very significant largest percentage of international protection accommodation is in Dublin. Is in the Dublin area, and I think that shows that there isn't a bias against rural areas. But the point I will make in terms of the comprehensive accommodation strategy I launched a number of months ago, looking to create that core of state-owned accommodation, so we move away from this over-reliance on the commercial. I've been very clear that by doing that, it allows us to plan where we're going to locate those state-owned accommodation, and that allows us to ensure that we aren't locating that in areas which have already, I suppose, are already accommodating large numbers of either international protection applicants or Ukrainians.
And you spoke about your department engaging with communities' concerns, but we've heard politicians, even politicians from government parties, complain about the lack of consultation. This idea of community audits and getting the consent of a community, how much does that weigh on you, and is there anything more that could practically be done to increase that engagement? Because we have heard that criticism from government TDs.
Well, a year ago, I would have accepted that criticism. There were areas where we had to move very quickly and we weren't able to undertake community engagement. But I know there's been maybe 60 or so meetings have been organised by our community engagement team with local representatives, with community leaders, all over the country. And I suppose we're talking about two locations today where there has been very significant controversy. We also have to recognise that over the last year we have opened significant amount of international protection accommodation where there hasn't been controversy, where our community engagement team have worked with local political representatives, with community leaders, where we've been able to bring in solutions to the service issues that have been raised, and where people have accepted that they're hosting people in their area, and the state has stepped up in terms of putting in additional facilities.
And how do you solve the violence that we've seen, for instance, in Coolock in recent weeks? We see, and it's not unique to Ireland. I mean, look at Hartlepool, look at Southport, look at Downing Street.
The question of misinformation and disinformation, I think, it becomes more and more prominent, and both in terms of what happened in Coolock, where it was put up online that a well-known coach company had refused to engage with our department, entirely untrue. They'd no relationship with us originally. The rumour that there was a busload of international protection applicants on site, again, all untrue.
But drones firing in petrol bombs, that's true.
Yeah, and I look, there's a real issue with the use of this information by really very clearly bad faith actors in terms of trying to influence, particularly young people who maybe draw all their kind of information from social media sources rather than from the more traditional mainstream sources. And I think we're seeing, as you pointed out, the exact same thing happening in the UK. So it's not a phenomenon unique to Ireland. As you know, we've brought in legislation, we've brought in the Online Safety Commissioner to look at the regulation of the large platforms and to place a greater onus on them in terms of
legislation soon.
We would hope to see that coming in the autumn term. I think it is really important. We saw 651 hate crimes take place in Ireland last year, and those are the ones that were declared to the Gardaí. It is really important that we
want to see that on the statute books before you leave government.
I want to see legislation outlawing hate crimes on the statute books, yes.
Minister for Integration and Children, Roderic O'Gorman, thank you for coming in to talk to